So today we're going to be doing a seafood boil. I have my corn and my potatoes all clean and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and dump it into my pot. But first I'm going to show you guys what's in my pot. Now today we're going to be doing a seafood boil, kind of like a boiling crab type of deal. So you guys know I already have the boiling crab copycat recipe, which you guys love so much. I'll have that video linked down below. This sauce is going to be very similar to that one. There's going to be a few tweaks. I've already prepped my seasoning, which I'll get into that in just a moment. But before we get started with the sauce, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my boil. So we have a pot here with some boiling hot water. And as you guys can see, I pretty much did my pot just like hers. You have your crab boil in there. You have a whole onion chopped up. You have some sliced garlic, and then you also have your lemon rings. So I also seasoned it. I added a little bit of Old Bay. I added a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and just a few other seasonings. Mainly just salt-free seasoning, so that way I can go ahead and give my boil a little bit of flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and use this pot to boil up my corn, my potatoes, as well as my crab. I'm gonna do each step one by one. So I'm gonna start with the potatoes, and I'm gonna go ahead and just drop those in. Now different potatoes call for different times. I'm gonna do mine for about 15 to 20 minutes. About 5 minutes after I put the potatoes in, I'm gonna go ahead and follow that with the corn. This corn has been washed, the potatoes have been washed. Everything is already clean, and then I also have my shrimp bathing in a little bit of water. Be sure to use tongs or some type of kitchen tool. Your pot is extremely hot and you don't want this water splashing on you with these heavy potatoes. Okay, Google, set timer for 15 minutes.
Sure, 15 minutes. And we're starting now.
So now we're gonna wait for these. In about 5 minutes, we'll add these to the pot. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and prepare our sauce. Okay, so here are all my dry seasonings. I went ahead and scooped everything out and added it to a bowl for time's sake. But pretty much all I did was I took my tablespoon, 1 tablespoon, and I did 1 tablespoon of majority of the seasonings. For the onion powder, I had about a tablespoon and a half left, so I went ahead and added a little bit extra. But basically a tablespoon and a half of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of my Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning or Cajun seasoning, and then I also did a tablespoon of the oregano. The Old Bay, I went ahead and did 2 tablespoons because we really love Old Bay in our seafood. A tablespoon of the accent, a tablespoon of the lemon pepper, chili powder, also a tablespoon of the ground paprika. Now these are 2 seasonings that she added to hers that I opted out of. Babe does not really like a lot of spice in his, so I kind of opted out of these. For the cayenne pepper, I recommend maybe about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then this is ground red pepper. I've never used this before, but I picked up some today. I tasted it and it definitely has a little bit of a spice to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this one out. Once we get started and put everything in the pot, we're also gonna add your hot sauce. I believe she used Tabasco, but I'm gonna use our household's favorite, which is the red hot wing sauce, and then a little bit of Worcestershire sauce as well. She also did use a little bit of I believe it's a ginger. We don't really like ginger like that in this house, so we're not gonna use that. Maybe next time we'll try that out. But we did opt for a little bit of a sweet, and I used, instead of a tablespoon, I just put a small teaspoon right in the center of the brown sugar. Also, we're gonna use some unsalted butter. Be sure to get unsalted because you are adding a lot of seasonings and you wanna be able to control the amount of salt that you put into your dish. So this came with basically 4 of these, and we're gonna use all 4. I also cut up about half of an onion. You can use a whole onion or no onion at all. It all depends on you. But this is just gonna add a little bit of texture to your sauce. And we're also gonna add some garlic. Now I do like a lot of garlic in mine just because the garlic does add a lot of texture and flavor to your sauce. So these little packs here come made and cut, and it just saves time. So I'm just gonna put 2 of these into my sauce. I'm gonna leave the ingredients listed and the measurements listed in the description bar, and I'll let you know how much of everything I end up using. So to save time with mincing my garlic, I'm gonna use my Ninja. This thing comes in handy every time, and basically all I have to do is open it up. And literally garlic takes forever to cut up and to mince, and we're gonna literally do it in a matter of seconds. And just that quick, you have minced garlic. I'm actually gonna add a little bit more. This is definitely not enough, so I'm just gonna add one more and we'll see how this goes. We're gonna add this corn. So while our potato and corn boils, we're gonna go ahead and do the seafood. I went ahead and peeled and cleaned our shrimp really good. I got these from Costco, and I think I forgot what count they are, but I'll leave it in the description bar. They come in a really big bag, so I only use half the bag. I know in most boils you go ahead and you leave the skin on. I went ahead and peeled it just because me and Babe prefer ours already peeled and ready to go. And then I also picked up about 4 pounds of snow crab leg from my local grocery store. Now Ralph's doesn't have the best selection of snow crab, but we are not fans of king crab around here. So I just went ahead with what they have. But if you look really closely, they are definitely dirty. They have all this white stuff on it. So I'm just going to go one by one and clean them up really good and make sure I get all that gunk out, and then I'll be right back. Okay, here we go with the sauce for the seafood boil, y'all. This is literally going to be the easiest sauce you've ever made. So I took those 4 sticks of butter and I just melted them in a pan. Each stick is half a cup, so it's basically 2 cups of butter. I decided to go ahead and add 1 more stick, which is a half a cup, and then later I'm going to add another half cup. So in total, this is going to be 3 cups of butter. I also added in the garlic. I did add about 4 or 5 heads of garlic. Now this is optional. I believe in her, she added about 3 heads of garlic. I added more for a thicker texture. I would say for yours, stick to about 3 heads of garlic, just because my sauce did come out very thick. Now here I added that 6th stick of butter just because I felt like I wasn't going to have enough sauce. You also see in the back I did transfer a little bit of that garlic butter mixture into another pan because I'm going to use that to saute my shrimp. Now here I went ahead and also added my onion, and I'm just going to let that cook on maybe about a medium heat. You don't want it too high because you don't want the garlic and the butter to burn, but you do want to be able to cook those onions so that they're soft. I don't like crunchy onions in my mixture. The onion is also definitely optional. I would opt out of the onion if anyone in your family doesn't like onion, or if you're serving it to guests, sort of skip that step. This is just something that you know, BK loves does, so I wanted to try it out for myself. I personally loved it, but I probably won't do it the next time just for the sake of others that I'm cooking for. Now here I'm adding my tablespoon of hot sauce and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now here's that bowl of dry seasonings I showed you just a few minutes ago. I'm going to give that a nice stir and mix it up really good, especially that sugar, because I want it to be evenly distributed. Also, because you really want to customize the seasonings and the sauce to your liking, I would recommend adding the sauce in, or the seasonings in rather, gradually and mixing it up and just seeing how you feel about that thickness. Now if it's not stirred up and you pour it in, you're gonna have to pour all of it in to make sure that you get all of the flavors in there. But if it's evenly mixed, it's like adding your own custom seasoning. And so here I kind of mixed it up and just kind of seeing what texture I was getting. And I decided to add all of it. But again, if you go ahead and you make this dry seasoning mixture beforehand, and you pour in, say, a quarter, you stir it up, and that's what you like. Like if you like more butter, then you know this would be a great time to basically modify it to your liking. You can also, after a few minutes of letting it marinate together and cook together, taste it just to see if all the seasonings are right. Now, I personally love the consistency and thickness of this, so I kept it as is. But if you feel like it's way too thick, just add more butter so that the ratio of seasoning and, you know, butter will be a little bit better for you. Just in general, for serving purposes, I would say go a little bit light on the garlic. I would add maybe about 3 to 4 heads of garlic, probably 3 if you don't want it too garlicky, and I would ex-nay on the onion, and then the rest of the seasonings I would keep as is. And that's just for a general, you know, serving size, I guess I would say. And if you didn't want to use as much butter, again, you're not going to be drinking the butter. The butter is literally to dip. So once the seasoning was done, I literally had majority of the seasoning left. I know a lot of people, when they see this, they're like, that's so much butter, but you're not, you know, spooning the butter into your mouth. You're just dipping it, and you like to have enough, you know, to go around. So I did serve myself a little bit. This is going to be my first taste. I did not show my reaction, which I should have, but this sauce is amazing. And the key and the best part is that it's not salty. I really didn't use any salt-based items, so it's perfect. You don't need any salt. Don't add any salt to it. This is absolutely perfect. Now I've removed my potatoes and corn from the pot, and I'm going to go ahead and boil my crab. Now personally, I like my crab steamed. This was probably one of the first times I actually boiled the crab in a long time, because I normally steam, and I will say that I prefer steamed over boiled, but this is pretty much the final product. I'm just going to go ahead and plate everything. I went ahead and cut up my lemon so that way I can have it ready to go. I like to have a little bit of lemon in almost every bite, so I use a lot. I'm also going to add a little bit of seasoning on top of mine. The one on the left is Babe's and the one on the right is mine. And I added a little bit of Creole seasoning, and I believe that was paprika. The paprika is for color, but as you guys can see, Babe doesn't have the corn and potatoes. Those are just for me because he doesn't prefer it. And then I'm going to dish the sauce into a bowl. I highly recommend using the bags because that's how you get the sauce in every bite. You can also do this in the oven. Let me know if you guys want to see me do a recipe on that. I'll do the oven version of this where I put it in the bags and put it in the oven with my own recipe for seasoning. But this is really a detailed close-up look of what the sauce looks like. From the time I added the butter to the pan to the time that we are here serving it, I would say the sauce was on the stove for maybe about 20 minutes. Now it's literally an instant thing. As soon as the butter melts, you can go ahead and add your seasonings and be good to go. And what's cool is you can pre-prep your seasonings beforehand. This is me pouring it out, and you guys can see how thick and chunky it is. Again, if you don't want it this thick, less garlic and no onion will do the trick. You can also, like I said before, stir your seasonings beforehand so you can pour it in slowly and stop when you feel like you've had enough. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I have my original personal recipe linked down below. We're almost at 1 million subscribers on that one, so make sure you go over there and watch that one and let me know what you think.
So this is the final result. You can do these in bags, like boiling crab style, or you can do them in these pans like this. I opted for the pans. I went ahead and dished my sauce into a serving bowl. As you guys can see, I poured a little bit on top of mine just so that it could be nice and seasoned, and then I have a little bit on the side for dipping, and then the rest is for Babe, and then this is his. So for mine, I went ahead and I did crab, shrimp, I did tons of lemon rings, and then I did my corn and potato as well. I had some sausage I forgot to make. I really didn't want the sausage anyway, so this is gonna be mine, and this is a lot of food. And then this is Babe's, and so yeah, I've already had a taste of it and it's really good. Babe tasted it. He said it does have this sweet taste that he likes, so it's absolutely perfect. It seems like you're adding a lot of seasoning to your sauce, but if you notice, majority of those sauces have no salt in them, so it's not salty at all, especially because we used unsalted butter. So if you want it more salty, you can definitely add that in at your own, you know, pace at the very end. But I do recommend that you make the sauce as is, and then once you taste it, once it's done, kind of add in more seasoning as you need it. As you guys seen, I did add more butter because I wanted the sauce to stretch a little bit more. The sauce is very thick, as you guys can see here, but it definitely tastes amazing. Stay tuned for a mukbang. I will be putting one up this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. I'm working. I'm working. I'm working.